Chris, we made it. It's August and we're still smiling.
Just about.
Well, I am. I don't know about you. I feel all right at the moment.
Well, I mean, like, look, the weddings have been great, and the vibe and energy this year has been cracking. The weather's been amazing, and so like, in terms of like the normal me coming into podcast day in August and being like, oh, I am knackered, I'm not feeling that, but my editing pile is definitely showing the signs.
You have to climb over it to get out the door this morning to get it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I've made myself a little Excel spreadsheet chart that keeps track of like the days where things are due. So I've got like a little dashboard that says due this week, due next week, and then overdue. It says due this week, nothing, and it's overdue, and it's just like a massive pile of things.
Just like when you go to McDonald's and you get the like it goes into red once you've been waiting longer than 5 minutes for your food, and like all of your weddings are in the red bit at the moment.
Pretty much.
You got to give them a free McFlurry when you deliver it, just to.
It's just trailers and highlights and keeping up with that kind of stuff. Especially that when this year I'm being a bit extra, I guess, and doing teasers for free. Like I don't promise teasers, but I'm doing so many weddings this year that are like on brand for me that I'm just bashing out teasers. And
I think in that world of like immediacy as well, I guess, where like photographers like me that deliver like next day previews, you kind of feel like if you're not dropping something at a similar time, it's you get nothing until weeks later.
Photographers and content creators and that kind of stuff, you kind of have to keep up, right? And it actually it's doing really, really well. So
at least you feel as a reward to that level of effort you're having to put in at
the reward is now, and then later we'll, like during the winter, we'll deal with the consequences of the edit.
So when did your Excel spreadsheet tell you you're going to finish work for this year?
What is it? So it's I think it's mid-December, end of December, which has never happened, so that definitely won't happen. But it's when it comes to like, when you do, so my Excel spreadsheet is set up so that it's like 12 weeks for the long film, right? But then when you've got 3 weddings in one weekend, and then 12 weeks later it says you've got 3 full films due this week, and you're like, yeah, right, that's not happening.
What's the chance?
But yeah,
and then add a newborn baby to the mix of that as well, which is a complete unknown in the house. And,
exactly.
So you might finish them all before you start next year.
My house is as state as it is, but it's going to be absolutely chaotic. But luckily that's in October, so I won't have any weddings to film.
You can worry about that then.
I can worry about that.
And today we're here, and we've got a guest, haven't we?
We have got a very special guest today. Say hello, James.
Hi guys. Hello, world of podcasters.
Yeah.
So it's really good to have you on. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, man. I'm like I said off camera before, I dropped my daughter Penelope. I dropped her off at nursery this morning, and tomorrow is her last day. So like everything tomorrow is like, this is the last time we're going to get dressed in the morning together. This is the last time we're going to brush our teeth and get in the car together. Last time driving up the drive to the nursery, and it hit me this morning when I saw her run off. And you just look. Have you got younger children? Have you got children yet, or is it just one come in?
No, I have none. I have a dog who's asleep on the settee, and Chris is is about 2 months away from.
Honestly, when you get these feelings, like on a wedding day, I always connect with the father of the bride because I just know like he's been through everything I've been through so far, like having young daughters. So when I saw her running off, I was just like, where has the time gone? Like, and then it's weird because the summer, you kind of like, summer starts and then you're like, right, I need summer to finish as soon as possible so that I can have a bit of downtime. Whereas now I'm like, I need to make the most of like every little moment, and it sounds like a bit cringe, I guess, but having little kids, I don't know, it gives you like a different perspective on like time. I sound like a bit of a scientist now or something, but
no, but I don't think it's cringy. I don't think it's cringy at all. I think to have that empathy going into a wedding day, or having that kind of insight, like you were saying, how fast that time's gone. Before you know it, you'll be that father of the bride, sat there with someone like you, pointing the camera at you, making you cry as she walks into the room in a wedding dress. And so I think to have that level of insight is...
if I'm acting like this on a last day of nursery, I don't even want to think about her on a wedding day. Honestly, there's a song, a Post Malone song, and I can't think what it's called now. I think it's called Yours, and it's basically about Post Malone's daughter getting married, and it's like, your first dress was pink and today you're wearing white, and it's just, it gets me every time. So that'll be like our father-daughter dance if we do one, but thinking ahead, planning forward again, not wishing time away, wishing time away, but I'm in an emotional mood.
I guess you think about that stuff, don't you? Yeah. But I guess all those kind of life experiences and that kind of thing, they really help towards what we do. I feel like getting married really helped me put a perspective on what's important and things like that. So
100%, 100%. It's
I think it's like, before we dive into, like, I feel we've jumped straight into the deep feels all the way. But like, to anybody that doesn't know you on the pod, I think you should do like a little introduction. Let us know kind of how long you've been doing this, where you're based, and all kind of that good stuff. Just give us like an overview.
You've got a nice little LED sign that tells us exactly who you are as well. So
I don't know, on the 1.4 though, is it in focus?
So I'm James. I work with Chumley Films. It's my little brand that I created in 2022, end of 2022. I've got a background in like graphic design and sort of marketing, branding. So when I came out of my job as a graphic designer, I jumped straight into the world of weddings. But I kind of had a different approach to what probably most videographers have. Like, most guys and girls have got technology, knowledge, and like, the ability to just grab a camera, do it straight away, whereas they might lack the ability to do the branding side of things. So that was kind of a unique approach, I suppose, because like when I came into the world of weddings, people were noticing that from start to finish online it was kind of really polished, and it wasn't like I said to people at the time, fake it till you make it, and everything looks really great, but actually deep down, like, the business side of things I'd never done before, because I kind of break Chumley Films up into like two things. I have the brand and the business, so we'll probably dive into more of that later on down the pod. But I'm based in the Northwest, like half of the country's videographers are, it seems.
It is a hotbed, isn't it, out there? Yeah.
It's a popular, it's the most crammed category in Twitter, isn't it, at this point?
I'm not going to make the same mistake. I told Adam Wing he was from the Midlands, and I thought he was going to punch me through the screen. So, yeah.
Midlands of Great Britain, maybe, but not quite of England.
The thing is, if you come any further south than us, you get wet. So, like, we are literally at the very bottom. Everything is north for us, right? Yeah.
Very, very true. But yeah, there's loads of incredible suppliers in the Northwest. So I'm lucky to be surrounded by great educators as well. You got the likes of Adam and Greg, GB Weddings. He's awesome as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much that.
We need to get Greg on the pod. I feel like Greg can probably, if there's someone that can talk as much as you, it's definitely.
I think we should have like who can talk the most words.
I'll just be sat on the corner, like,
Chris, bring your editing with you. You sit and catch up on a film, and me and Greg will just split. It'll be fine. Yeah.
It's funny you should say about the branding and that kind of thing. I think like we have a lot of chats on this pod about how branding is so much, it's probably more important now than the actual quality of the work, because like you say, there's a lot of people. You say that maybe you can't, like, it's not just a case of you can pick up a camera and everything just magically happens. Like, you've had to really work on that. I feel like there's a lot more people now that can pick up a camera and it magically happens. So you do see the quality of work, even of people just starting up now, is 70-80% of what we do, having done it for quite a long time. So the branding really, really separates you. And that's something that I've noticed, and sort of one of the reasons as well that like we asked you to come on, is that your branding is very much on point, that from your Instagram stories to the way you portray yourself. And I was shocked when you put in the notes that you started in 2022, because you come across as a business who just has it all together, and a person that's so confident in what they do, and whether like that is your brand or that's the truth, that you're fully 100% confident in everything. You come across as someone who just like is genuine, who everyone wants to get to know, and that kind of thing, and who is confident in what they do. And I genuinely thought you'd been doing it for much longer because of that.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear, and it's nice to think that people see what I'm doing and that I am genuine, because it really is like I'm totally authentic. And I say this to the couples, like, what you see is what you get. And obviously I'm a professional person on the day, but like, again, I feel like I'm just going to keep repeating myself, but everyone who approaches a wedding day has a role to play. Some people, they're there purely to do the business side of things and to make a cake and deliver the cake, and then they get paid for the cake and then they go home. Like, that's it. Whereas I feel like videographers, photographers, content creators, the people who are there from the start of the day all the way to the end, it's just as important having a strong brand as it is to be able to do the business side of things as well. And I know that, like we said off camera, it's like rinse and repeat for a lot of people saying these things, but I think saying it and actually applying and being intentional is very, very tricky to do sometimes for some people. So when I
think coming across genuine as well is hard. I think a lot of people, you can kind of see through it, or you can see that they're trying to portray to be someone that they're not, because they think that's a good representation of the brand that they're chasing. Where I think it's to come across as someone and you can see that they're being authentically themselves, and you know that that's just them and how they are. I think that is hard to do. Or also it takes a degree of bravery, and I think that's why I think a lot of people get that bit much later on in their career, not someone like yourself who maybe brought that to the table before the kind of the camera skills. Is because I think people go, oh, I want to be a wedding photographer, I want to be a videographer, and they focus so much on getting good at their job that they forget to kind of show, or they feel they can't show themselves because people won't like what they see, and it's hard, isn't it? So I think that I think anyway that maybe that attributes to some of your success so quickly, is that you've managed to have that side nailed whilst kind of the film quality's been coming up.
Yeah, it's like, I see it like your business pays the bills and the brand builds the demand, if that makes any sense. So like the way to really drive your business is through your brand, and the business end of things is making sure the output is good, like good enough to sort of pass and get the seal of approval from your couples, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And our couples, they're after good work, of course, but at the end of the day, like if they're inquiring with 5 people with good work, but one person is constantly active on the socials, like you can tell who they are, what they stand for, that kind of thing, before they're even getting to the calls, then that person's always going to be the person who's ahead on the bookings, right?
Yeah, 100%. And there's proof in the pudding with that for me, because I always, like when I'm chatting to other videographers, I'm aware that my films aren't like groundbreaking and absolutely beautiful, but ultimately I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of that in terms of making the couple feel extra comfortable and giving them like an even better day possible. So hopefully that's portrayed in the brand and the likability, I hope, that people can find within me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And we'll definitely get into like how you do that on a wedding day as well. But first, just a little bit about your business. I think that am I right in saying you're fully booked or like mostly booked for next year already?
Yeah. I don't want to. I don't want to like brag about it because I'm not that person at all. But I've taken my last booking for next year. I took it yesterday.
Wow.
So if you don't mind us asking, how many bookings have you got in the diary for next year?
49.
49.
See, which is insane. Like absolute credit to you. Like that's like is a very, very healthy number, and to be sat here 2/3 of the way through the year with that. But again, it's like though, if you are putting that yourself out there, and those good inquiries are coming in of people that want you as a person, not just the film as well. Though it's hard to say no, isn't it?
I'm gonna do my thing that I do when people say that to me, and that is why. If it's August and you've already fully booked next year at 49 weddings, why are you not charging more? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much you're charging, but surely that's...
Yeah, because I'm an idiot, basically. No, because so I started, and it's easier to work like from backwards. So I started in 2022, and for 2023 I only did like 20 weddings or so. So I was kind of like scrambling a little bit because I didn't have the portfolio to sort of build a decent target market and understand sort of the industry.
That's still a good number though for a first year of business.
Yeah, so 2023. So really I've only done like 2 proper seasons, like summer seasons. So I've done 2023, 2024, and this is like my 3rd full season, and we're in August, aren't we? So I booked a lot of weddings for 2025 in 24, and I booked a lot of weddings for next year last year, if that makes... No, I booked them at the start of this year, and I was scared of having like a drop off. Because I just, you talk to other people and say, no, I'm really struggling for bookings, and I get it because the change in the economy and all that stuff. So I was just scared because my wife works with me. So I don't think my couple actually know that, but my wife basically edits like multicams, and she does like the culling and the prep work, which is amazing that the business has been able to, provide that sort of stability for my family. But because I'm the only form of income to our house, I was kind of like snatch and grab. Let's just do let's just get them in.
Okay.
Rather than panicking towards the end of the year thinking, oh my gosh, I've only got 20 in next year, what are we going to do? It was kind of, I'm really happy with what I charge. I feel like I get the type of couples that relate to me, and I can just be myself on the day rather than thinking I'm overcharging, which I probably would feel like I was if I charged any more. But you are right. It's everyone's goal, isn't it, to charge more and work less? And I think that
I think that is though. But I think too many people say, "Oh, that is the dream." And I know for us over time, that's what it is. But I think when we're sat here, a few more years in than you, and you only come to know what your pattern is or what your number is and what's comfortable. You've got to take that number as you as a business. And again, I didn't know that your wife obviously is part of the business as well. So if you were having to do those multicams and edits and all of that yourself, then you're loading the man hours on each wedding up a lot further than if you're spreading that workload over two people. And I also know as well that, we're both lucky that we both have wives that have, pretty good paying jobs, that if things were really, really bad, we're not going to get kicked out of our house. Where if both of you are relying on that one pot of money to feed your children, pay your mortgage and the rest of it, then that need to have that amount of business looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
We could be stubborn on pricing, can't we? And be like, oh yeah, well, I'm not quite booked as I want to be next year, but I still want to carry on with my price, because we know that if worse comes to worse, like we've still got incomes in the household and things like that. So although people might say, yeah, the goal is always to charge more and work less, the more you charge, probably the more difficult it is to get bookings, or at least in the mid-high range sort of area, because everyone's sort of crammed into that area, right? So it becomes harder, and therefore it becomes a bit more shaky in terms of, am I going to get booked for the year after, sort of thing.
And I think hopefully as well, what sort of numbers have you done this year, James?
How many have I shot this year?
Yeah, how many are you going to shoot this year? Similar numbers?
Yeah, I think I've got about 54. But
again, so you are come down. Even if you took nothing else for next year and capped at 50, you're still 5 less. And even that 5 less is hopefully 10 less meetings, isn't it? It's 10 less multicam. It's 5. There's all of those things which are less. And I think you've got. I always said in my business that I had to do too much to know that I did too much, because 10 is too much for somebody and 60 is great for others. So I think it's kind of that industry noise, if you like, of going work, you've got to find your balance, haven't you? And with both of you working on the business, you might find that 50 is actually a really healthy number for you.
Yeah, it's a lot. it's
a lot. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't want to do 50. Fair play to you for doing that. Even with 2 of us, I think 50 would be too much for me. But you find your balance, don't you?
It's weird, and because we're all self-employed, aren't we? It's so hard to say no. And it's not even necessarily to the money. It's more like I'll get an inquiry through, and it'll be at a beautiful place and I'll look at the couple and I'll think, oh, they look like great fun, and they'll leave a funny comment, and I'll just think, oh, right, okay, I'll do this one. And then another one comes in, you're like, oh, I really want to do it. Okay, it's working with this photographer. Oh, okay, yes, I'll do it. But I think that, like I said at the very start, having young children and seeing how fast they're growing up, it has sort of opened my eyes to the time, especially with the summer holidays being our peak season, not ideal. I think in the years to come, I will be a lot more strict with the numbers that I'm doing in August. This year in August, I think I've got 11, which is probably similar across the. I don't know what are you guys doing in August? Is it something like that? Nowhere near. Two.
No way.
So 2 in a music festival. That's my August.
Music festival. Yeah. My mid July to mid August was 11. I think. It wasn't a particular month as in July and August, but mid-July to mid-August was about 11. So
I'd say August is an anomaly for me this year. Normally it's 3 or 4, but
to
2 is low.
Yeah, so well for me, August is it spikes, and that's when the kids are off. And I see on other videographers' stories are enjoying time with the family and stuff, and I'm like, I want to do that. Why can't I do that? I'm stuck in my office all the time. And with the girls starting school, I think that in the years to come, I will just have to be I'm only doing 1 a week or 2 a week at an absolute push. But it's a learning curve, isn't it? I'm still sort of early on in my journey, I suppose. And I'm learning a lot at the minute.
So obviously, for those who are watching this, and obviously to give context to the rest of the episode, if you're comfortable, what is a sort of average package and price look for you in terms of, so if you're looking at the 49 weddings next year, if you're comfortable telling us like what your average sort of package booked is and the price that would be that you've got in for next year?
Yeah, so including deposits, on average, it's about 1,800. But
Yeah.
I increased that. I didn't do dynamic pricing, but when I got to like 30, I increased it to 2 grand, and then since being at like 45, I just kind of, when I hit 45, I was like, that's me full. Like I'm done there. And then I increased it
Yeah.
to 2,300. Just again, it's just like small increments going up. And then I booked a few more. So now I'm kind of scratching my head thinking, why did I not just hold off and go in straight at 2-3?
But that's the lesson you've learned, isn't it? And
yeah.
I think it's like it's great to take risks when you know that you're comfortable. And so I think if anything, although it means you've got to do those weddings and you end up with a busier year, if that means that when those 27 inquiries come in and go, then that is, that's the minimum that I'm working for. You can see already, can't you, where that extra 500, that you're charging between 18 to 2-3, that means that every 4 weddings that you book is one less that you've got to do. And if you look at it like that and take that one less is a day back with your daughter, then
the goal I think is to try and get to a balance where I'm doing like 35 a year. That's where I kind of would be happy at, because I do love the wedding days. Like I don't find the wedding a grind at all. Like I'm happy to do the weddings. Like it's awesome, isn't it? Like it's the best part of the whole journey. The editing sometimes is challenging when it's more the pressure of the backlog more than the actual doing the editing for me. Like when I'm in the flow of it, I love it. Like when I've got a new project that's empty, I'm like, right, where am I going with this? I love it. But when you walk into your office thinking, I need to get this film done today because I've got 10 others, it's kind of like pressure, isn't it? Which takes it away from the creativity that we all love, and that's why we do this job, isn't it? Ultimately.
Do you find at the beginning of the year when you do like your first couple of weddings, you sit down, you're like, right, yes, let's get these edited. They're going to be like the best things I've made. And then like sort of like September, October, you walk in and you're like, I've got to edit this, no matter how I'm feeling, or if I'm not in the zone for it, it's just got to be done. And it's not like they turn out any differently or any worse. It's just a feeling of like the passion feeling, isn't it? Of like at some point it just gets like, you have to do it, and it's not you're doing it because you're really excited to get into it.
100%. Like I don't want to do any of my couples like a disservice by saying I rush them, because I definitely don't. But you are right. Like at the start of the year, you're like sat back in your office, feet on the desk, like flicking through music bed for like 6 hours, just finding some nice music. And then towards the end of summer, you're like, right, which song have I used before that would work for this film? Like that one. And then they're like, Still amazing.
But again, we had a whole episode on this, didn't we? Like we had a whole episode on limitations, and I think like looking back now, it's probably one of my favourites. And sometimes I think having that stuff at the start of the year is great, because then you start to try things because you've got that time and that zest for it. But I think there's sometimes about kind of like the core of your brand, or what is fundamentally you, sometimes can come out even more in those moments when you're grinding, because you go like, I know this is foolproof, this is exactly me, and I haven't got time to go, oh, but what if. And sometimes those couples probably still get a film which is much more at the core of who you are, because you're literally doing it on kind of like the seat of your pants. I need to get this done, and so they just get what works, and what is you. There's no kind of experimentation in there, is there?
Or if you're in the flow, in the flow of editing, and you kind of like you've done something, you've just done 3 weddings, and you come back and you're like, well, I'm in the flow now. Let's edit these like quickly, or little trailers or teasers for them or whatever. And because you're actually like in the deepest, darkest depths of wedding season, like you feel like you're feeling everyone's like positivity and vibes and that kind of thing. So you probably, whereas if you're editing and it's like December and it's dark outside, it can maybe make you feel a bit different. So
especially when you're editing summer weddings and you're sat there in your cave and it's snowing outside.
So if you've been going since 2022, then do you feel like again, that's something else we talk about on this pod is like ideal couples and who you target and that kind of thing. Do you feel like you have nailed down your ideal couple and you're booking the kind of people you want to book, or is it still very much experimental, or you get a bit of both?
I feel like I'm still evolving. Like I feel like this summer I've really sort of broke through with the more authentic feeling films, because when you start out, you just want to make sure you cover like the basics and like make sure I nail the ceremony and make sure I nail the speeches and make sure I nail the first dance, and it's all kind of like very basic, I suppose. Whereas this year, taking inspiration from other people and thinking, I'm gonna try and put more of a stamp on the films, and I'm gonna try and be more energetic and use different music. Like I feel like at the start of this year, I used a completely different like catalogue of music compared to previous years. And a few people have commented on it saying like it's got more energy in it, and there's more hand movements rather than being like a slow build up, like a morning
Yeah.
glow, a morning growing sound, like with nice
Yeah.
dialogue from the day. It's kind of like bam in your face, summit from the dance floor right at the start of the film. Um, so I feel like I'm I'm still developing a sort of style. But the main thing is I don't want it to just be like rinse and repeat, like wedding, wedding, wedding.
Yeah.
I really want to appeal to the people who just want to have a great day and just want the film to reflect their day entirely. Which I'm sure that's what most people would like. It's a very generic answer, but yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it, I think.
I think it is, but also it's adapting your style to match the couple, even though sometimes the wedding might not be your ideal situation. You still have to, it takes then someone that really cares about the couple experience to not be like, oh, well, I'm going to try and make it on brand for me, even though it wasn't quite the way, like, I'm going to like stick it into this template, even though it doesn't fit into any of the templates. Like, if you're used to doing 200-person weddings in a family farm with like black tie and like quite well off people, and then you end up doing a garden barbecue one with 20 guests, they're going to be so different. And there's probably people out there putting those into the same into the same washing machine and just like leave them to sit. But it's where the skill I already think comes from, and the difference comes from being able to adapt to different weddings. Obviously, we all have a target and someone that we want to reach, but if you film different weddings, then you kind of have to adapt your style to that, don't you?
But there's that balance, isn't there, of kind of still making it a film or a set of photos that look like you, or they look like a Chumley film or a Spice film or a gallery that I would deliver, but being able to pivot on that element of, like you say, is that like something which is bordering on a luxury wedding and black tie is very different to the 30-person festival barbecue, isn't it? But it's kind of working that balance of giving them something, like you say, authentic, honest, which felt like the day, but also still feels like it's come from your brand. Like you haven't tried to emulate someone who does those types of weddings and go, oh, well, that's a them style couple, so I'm going to make them a them that style film. It still needs to be on brand, doesn't it?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that comes from like how you are on the day as well, though. So on the day, I try and give like a vibe and an energy that I think, right, if I give a little bit, then maybe I'll get a bit back to be able to use in the film. Whereas if on the day I give a little bit and I don't get it back, and they sort of keep me at arm's length, and they're very much like, yeah, you're here to video, it's fine, thank you, but you're here to video, just kind of stay over there. But I'm more than happy to do that. But I instantly am like, right, this is one of those weddings where they just want a nice day with their family and friends. They want nice speeches, nice ceremony, and loads of stuff of the family just chilling out, basically. So you've got to have the ability to adapt, I think, in like situations. I still do my usual thing. If the bride's walking and we're not taking photos or videos, I'll hold a bouquet because I'm like, do you want me to hold that for you? Do you need a drink? Do you need anything? Try and be like on hand for them, but not be like, let's go running in the fields, let's go mental, because I know that it wouldn't be received the same way as another wedding it would be.
And that's just good reading the room, isn't it? That's the thing, isn't it? Is like you say, it's been that chameleon to the energy as well as to the style, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely that. I remember chatting to a videographer recently, and you kind of, as soon as you rock up to the morning, what type of videographer you have to be. If you spend like an hour in that room, or even just say hello and see who says hello to you and what they're doing, or are they all sat in different parts of the room just on their phones scrolling, and that you can tell they kind of don't really know each other and that kind of thing, or is there like 4 empty bottles of Prosecco already by the time you've rocked up in the morning, and you know what kind of wedding you're rocking up to, like who says hello to you, how much does the bride want to chat to you, or they just want to get on with their thing, and like you kind of adapt like a chameleon from there. And obviously, like, again, you have your ideal situation. The ideal situation for me is that I rock up and they're already like dancing on the bed with Prosecco in hand. Like that's the weddings I love to turn up to. But if it's not that, and it's one bride and maybe just a mum sat in a room and it's quite quiet and that kind of thing, then you'd be in for a different day and have to act a bit differently, right?
Yeah, very much so. I always, one thing that I always do on a wedding day is I'll go into the bridal prep like without any of my kit. Like I'll take my kit to the ceremony space and I just leave it, and then I go and say hello to everyone, so that I'm not like rocking up with my camera and they're like, oh, it's the videographer, best set up straight. I kind of walk in and I'm like, hi guys, morning. How's your morning been? This weather's great, isn't it? What's the plan then? How's it? You know what I mean? Like, and try and be more like a guest that's just in them for the first time on the wedding morning.
Yeah, a human first approach rather than supplier first. I think is so key.
100%, especially when most people, like the most common thing that people say on calls, like you guys will know, is we don't really like being on camera. We're quite shy. We're not posy. That's what people say all the time, isn't it? And I'm the same. Like if I was doing a call with a videographer or photographer, I'd say I'm not used to being on camera. So I feel like if you go in as a person, as opposed to, right, sit up straight, can you just look over there for me? It instantly just like relaxes them into the day, doesn't it? And like I always just try and banter with the bridesmaids. I feel like once you've got bridesmaids on your side, you could do anything on that day and get away with it pretty much.
100%. And the amount of people I've had a few people for next year, maybe for budget reasons, I'm not really sure, but say like, oh, I'm not really too bothered about getting ready stuff in the morning. And personally now, as a business or as a brand, I would not do a wedding if I wasn't there in the morning beforehand getting ready, because I think it makes a huge difference to the experience that I have, and like you say, like how much you feel integrated into the day. Because if by the end of those couple of hours or however long you turn up before the ceremony, you're like best friends with the bride, the bridesmaids, the mum, all of that stuff, for the rest of the day you have free roam and can basically like do what you want, and you can get people to do things, and you can help people out, and you're integrated, you're part of the bridal party. But if you're just turning up for the ceremony and the first time that they'll see you is like at the front of a camera, you're for the rest of the day the videographer who is just hired to do the job. Outside. I think
that's it, because they come down the aisle and they see you, they still had 40 minutes of you watching them without actually being able to say hello. Or if you just come in and say, I even have that time just to kind of say, get to know them, that you almost have a really like sped up version of the client journey, don't you, with the couple, but with the bridesmaids in that morning. Like they've had a year to get to know you, where the bridesmaids have got an hour. So you kind of have that stuff all zipped up. Or I've even had it this year where I've even found that the bridesmaids or whatever have started following me on Instagram before the wedding, because the bride's spoken about you, and then they come in and want to talk to me about my dog or my holiday or whatever, and they're kind of like, this is really weird, we feel like we know you, and it's like, no, this is good, because it means I'm not that.
So often when I turn up on a wedding, people have got, I feel like I've known you for ages, and I just think that's such a massive compliment, because it obviously means that what we're doing online, again, like being purposeful with things, it really does work.
And also, like, people, I don't know if you ever had this, and I'm sure you have it more than I do, because I don't show my face as much on stories and that, but I've heard people say, oh yeah, we feel like you're a celebrity because you're popping up on our Instagram all the time.
Oh, people don't say that. People don't say that about me, Chris. That's just you.
I don't know what it is. Like, obviously, because you keep popping up on their feed, it feels like you're like this sought after person who's just like, constantly there in their faces. So they must be popular and that.
But I think that's a really good thing to kind of we maybe lose sight of as wedding suppliers, is that my feed, when I scroll through my weddings Instagram, is a real mix of venues, florists, other photographers, other videographers, and my clients. So I probably see more industry stuff on that feed than I do like personal stuff or clients. Where if the average person, which I'm using kind of inverted commas because I say it loosely, that if they only started following you because they booked you for their wedding, the chances are that other people they do follow are celebrities or musicians that they like, or clothing brands that they like. And so when they're watching, like, I don't know, like they're kind of something from a festival, 1 minute of the band person they love, they swipe and there's you in your shacket, like talking about your wedding file. And then they go on to like, like the sale from ASOS next and their thing. You are kind of in those stories with those levels of people, because that's kind of, you're only one supplier in a sea of lots of other famous people, where on our feeds, it looks very different, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But so obviously, like, we've spoken about what you do in the morning of the day. Is there anything else you can tell us about, like, what you do on the day to prioritize the experience for the couples?
Do you know what? I think that a lot of people will be doing very, very similar things. We want to make the couple feel like celebrities. And although people might think you're a celebrity, Chris, I try and be like, you guys are the star of this show. Like, whatever you want throughout the day, I'm here. I'm more than just a videographer to just capture things. I want to be a good memory for you guys, as well as capture all of your good memories. I know that's really like cliche and again, cheese on toast, but it's so true. And at the end of the day, as long as you can walk out of the venue and know that you've done absolutely everything in your power to make sure that the couple will leave you a nice review, then you've done your job.
Yeah.
Like you've covered, you know how to film the ceremonies, you know how to film the speeches, you know, like that stuff, and you've influenced the day in a way that hasn't impacted the day, then I think that you're onto a winner. And when I say that, I mean like bringing a professional edge, of course, but bringing a vibe that make people look at you and go, "Oh, do you know what? Actually, yeah, we will go and do that. We are going to go and do the confetti, and I am going to give him a kiss in the middle because James is in front of me, and if I don't do it, he's going to shout. He's going to go, yes, come on, guys, make some noise. Yeah, we're going to do it, and it's sort of like getting them on board, I think.
So, do you feel like with like obviously paying attention to your couple was more so than, I say more so, but like in a similar way to paying attention to the way you're making the film, like giving the couple the experience is important? Do you feel like that comes? I feel like that came for me with experience of filming as many weddings as possible and getting into that, like having confidence in myself that no matter what happened on the day, I could deal with all of like the technical bits, like the ceremony and speeches and that kind of thing. Because I remember probably my first few weddings, I probably wasn't concentrating on the couple at all. I was concentrating on getting out there alive, like having everything like recorded, making sure the SD cards were working, camera, everything was in focus and that kind of thing. And then after a while, maybe then that was when, probably, yeah, after a couple of years is when I realized, okay, and now now I've got like the style honed in or whatever, and I know the technical things are nailed. Now I can focus on making something for the couple. Do you feel like that's happened with you, or was it always coming into it like I'm just going to focus on couple experience?
Yeah, so it's like the absolute opposite. So I totally came in knowing how to expose things correctly and all that stuff, like the technical bits, but I knew exactly how I wanted to make the couple feel, which again is probably why the business took off so quickly. And I feel like because weddings are so unique in the way that most people, if you're lucky, you only will ever need to book one wedding videographer. You'll only ever need to book one wedding photographer. So you kind of have like a bit of leeway in terms of the output quality. Do you know, like, so in my previous job, we were doing like big corporate work. I was a graphic designer. I wasn't hands-on with the camera, but the guys who we did employ as videographers and photographers, they were all like absolutely spot on with technique, and the quality was incredible, and they were charged an absolute fortune. But ultimately, the business who was employing them didn't know what the names were, or they didn't care if they needed regular toilet breaks or anything like that. It was a case of rock up, get the footage, go home, edit it, deliver it. That was it. And I thought, with weddings being so personable, it's so unique in terms of the experience overriding the quality, as long as the quality is really good. And I feel like that's where some guys who are starting out sort of miss the mark with that, because ultimately, if you're, like you said at the start, Tom, if there's a line of people and they all are really good at videography and the films look incredible, one person could be shooting S-Log, 4K, blah, blah, blah. One could be shooting 1080p with a pitch profile that doesn't really work. But the couple have no idea what the difference is. They just know that one person's £4,000 and one person's 500 quid. They're going to go, I like that work somewhere in the middle. And that's where I probably find that I started myself, and delivering high energy and a great experience has really paid off for me, rather than, jumping straight into making perfect, beautiful films. I feel like that's a really long-winded answer to, I started with the experience first.
You see, I was going to ask exactly the same question. That's the question that I kind of had on my lips, and Chris got there before, is I feel that, again, it took me a good few years to definitely just be competent as a photographer, and then probably another 2 years to be brave enough to be myself at weddings. I spent a lot of time thinking about who I probably thought I should be at a wedding, and then kind of now at the point where I feel like I've reached that pinnacle of there's probably most situations or things that could have gone wrong have probably gone wrong, and I've dealt with it. It's been okay. I've still made nice galleries, and then the more that I seem to be myself, the more that people like it. And I think that, like you said then, like when your graphic design job is that wedding photography sits in a really, really unique kind of point, is that in the corporate world, our client is never our subject. Do you know what I mean? Where in this, the people that book us are the same people that we photograph. Where in the corporate world, they'll go photograph this person, do this job, and then moan at you when they go, well, why didn't the model look like that? Or why didn't you take her this place? Where our couples see what we do on the day, and then they remember those moments because they were in them, and that doesn't happen in the corporate world very, very rarely anyway. And so I think that experience, like you say, is so much more important. And if you can use your online platform or your branding to expel that when, in the scenario you talked about, they've looked at 5 videographers' websites, the fact that they have websites proves that they know that, or they should know what they're doing and can make a nice film. You'd pick the person that you warm to the most. And, I think that when I book a builder to do some work in my house, a lot of it is I expect them to know how to put bricks on top of each other enough that they won't fall down. But when you get a quote, it's more, well, is this guy actually going to be all right when I'm sat here trying to work and he's around me? And you pick the person that's going to be the nicest to hang out with for the week while they're doing the work, not necessarily the person that's the dearest or the cheapest or whatever.
Yeah. I feel like you really show this quite well on your Instagram as well, like on socials, and we'll get on socials in a bit. But like it's one thing having a Meta Ray-Ban BTS video of you filming confetti, right? Because we can all do that, and it's not really showing much. And although it's content, and all content is good content at the moment, but I feel like what stood out for me on your Instagram is that your personality comes across quite well, in the fact that I don't know how you always get photographers to take photos of you, but you always seem to have like a photo from the photographer, and it's you like with a big goofy grin or doing something crazy or helping a bride out or something like that. And like that's when people even that's clicked in my brain, like, oh wow, like he would be really cool to hang out with, rather than like a generic BTS of you just filming a couple shoot or something.
Yeah, I get that because I'm just cheeky, and I was like, in fact, send me that photograph. And then once I've said that, they kind of actively get more of me. And I work with a few photographers quite a lot, and one of them's called Daisy Bell Photography, and she has an album of me, basically, of like all these different candids of me pulling like the daftest places. There was one that we worked on a couple of years ago, and there was like a ball pit. Like when you have like a creche for the kids. And basically, everyone was having food, and I was like, I'm going in the ball pit. So I just jumped backwards in the ball pit, and I was throwing these balls at her, and my trousers ripped, which wasn't ideal. That photo hasn't surfaced. You can't see
it in so many levels.
I can't believe you beat me to that one, to be fair. I teased you up on that. But yeah, it's like I work with her all the time, so she gets loads of daft things. But I don't mind people thinking I'm the daftest person in the room. If it makes them feel comfortable, and they can fall back on the fact that I'm probably more ridiculous than they are, or more eccentric than they are, then I feel like it just creates more of a comfortable environment. I just don't want it to feel forced. Like I don't want to actively act like an idiot, because that would just be ridiculous. But I don't mind saying things and like giving little like comments that people go, oh, that was quite funny. Like, oh, he's actually all right. It's normal. Yeah.
If you want your couples to sit in front of you and while you point a camera at them and laugh and run and spin and dip and whatever you get them to do, just do some fun stuff with them. You can't be the super serious guy behind the camera going, right, okay, we're gonna get you to run towards me now. Just need a shot of you. Come on, guys, put some energy into it. If you're like not afraid to make a tit of yourself, they won't either. So
you've got your shot list, and it's like, so now we're doing the dip. And it's exactly. Like, next tick that one. Now we're going to do this.
It never comes naturally. Like you always need to. Something sticks in my head from last month. I had this wedding, and beforehand, the bride and groom were just like, we're not into photos. Like we don't want too much of that. And the day was mostly natural, and there was hours and hours of candid stuff. But we had an amazing sunset, and it was the only couple shoot we did. But it starts off with like, okay, like honestly, you guys just like stand there. We'll get in this long grass, and we'll shoot you at the sunset, and it's all going to be great. And like, I'd say we probably did half an hour of it in the end. And by the end of it, they were running through the grass, they were carrying each other, they were spinning. And it's like, at first, it's like, okay, we'll ease them into that little bit of, but it was never a case of, okay, let me check my list. Yeah, let's do the dip shot. Come on, dip shot now. It was a case of, like, they were just vibing and we were like, do you want to do this? This would be really fun. And they were like, yeah, that sounds cool.
And that's that reading the room, isn't it? Like, you always kind of laugh at how quick my kind of couple shots are. But there are the odd ones where you can see that the people just need warming up. And almost the further you get into the couple shoot, the more they kind of feel themselves and go, oh, actually, we are pretty good at this. Where if that, the little 5-minute magic like I normally do wouldn't work with them, because they would only just be getting to the good stuff. Like, you need to spend that time and kind of, that the first 5 or 10 minutes of what you take, you probably won't deliver. It's just kind of warming them up, isn't it?
Yeah, getting them comfortable with you, showing that you're like being their hype man in a way, giving them the energy that you want back from them, and just seeing what vibe they're in with each other, because you sort of you get that idea, don't you, of do they want to go back to their guests, or are they quite happy? Like, are they really happy with this sunset and they're just quite happy chilling?
But again, to learn that early on, like you did, I think that's probably going to be the biggest takeaway, I think, from this, isn't it? And I'm really keen to kind of dive into kind of how you do, we spoke about the photos a minute ago, but how you do kind of really show that stuff and kind of, use that in your marketing, or in kind of reaffirming your brand to everybody.
Yeah, I just want to touch on, like, Chris, you said there, like, it took you about half an hour to get into things. And I think that's testament to you. You've made the environment comfortable for them. So any little things that you're doing, you've made it comfortable for them. And whether or not you've done it purposely or it's just your personality, I think that for me, I do things very purposely. So I'm thinking about the steps that I can take to warm them up into it. And I think that one important step is giving them space, as well as trying to be the person who brings the vibe, but also knowing when, right, I think they just want a bit of time now to sort of just have a chat. Because if you're in the face all day, some people might be fine with it, but a lot of people, I think, you'd get a bit of, right, okay, you're starting to irritate me now a little bit. They wouldn't say it. They wouldn't say it to you probably, but I feel like I'm quite good at thinking, right, we've just done some really high energy stuff. They haven't really spent a lot of time together and like just had a chat. I say to the photographer, like, let's just leave them now for 5 minutes. I'll say to them, like, right, guys, I'm going to put your first dance song on, and I'll put it in his blazer pocket on Spotify on my phone, and I'll say, right, just have a moment now. Just think about, like, the build-up and think about your journey that's got you to this moment, and we're just going to stand over there, and we're just going to let you have this minute. And I walk over, and we'll get loads of wide stuff, and it's beautiful. And then I'll slowly creep up closer to them, and I'll say, how was that? And like, bring it back a little bit, rather than always being looking for this, guys, get running, da-da-da-da. It's kind of like, right, let's bring it back to, as much as you are, this is for the camera, ultimately, this is your wedding day, and it's about you guys. I think it's important to bring it back.
I fully agree with what you're saying. And like letting them have a moment just to chat, especially when they haven't really like spoken to each other, right? And just to sort of take it all in and have a breather. And what I'm noticing, I don't know whether it's more and more, it's probably more and more the opposite way, but it's just a case of every now and then I work with a photographer who's very much the opposite to that. And it's like they've literally got the list in their head. They're like up close with the 28mm all times, just like, right, we need to do this, right, okay, do this, and now walk towards us, now stop, now look behind you. And like, I'm kind of, because I'm not that person, I'm more of a, like, what you're saying, I'm more of a like, let's see how things play out, rather than I'm gonna spend the next 10 minutes shouting directions. And so I find it really difficult to work, and obviously it's a style and that's fine, but I find it really difficult to work like that, because like you say, I don't know whether I think it's a mixture of personality and purpose. Like, because I enjoy what I do so much, I really want it to work and do well and make the couple feel happy. But also, like, purposefully, I'm making them feel comfortable. And the way I see to do that is, like you say, give them energy and vibe, but then when the time comes, give them space. And so sometimes, when I'm working with photographers that will not give that space, sometimes I'll need to be like, okay, guys, can we just like all step back and just give them that moment? And sometimes it's quite alien, I'd say, to photographers, and obviously, like, it wouldn't be to you. I don't think that
I've done it. I think we spoke about it in previous episodes. I've had it. If I particularly, like, through these long summer months, if we are going out for sunset during the dancing, I know the couple are probably going to be missed less. And I've had it now where a couple of times, I think we said it on the previous episode, where I'll say to them at the end of the thing, like, I'm done. I've got the photos that I need. Look, there's a couple of minutes left in that sunset. I'm just going to leave you out here. Like you said, I'm going to wander back. I've by coming away for the photos, you've been given some space, and do with it what you will. If you want to sit out here for a couple of minutes before you wander back to the party,
I was thinking about that when you
that's
said
fine, and just do it. But I think, and it's twofold, like you said at the start of this very episode, where you kind of feel that your business and your brand, you kind of hold in each hand, where the business move of that is kind of, I've got what I need, you've given them space, but then the brand inside is they'll remember that it was you that facilitated that.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the day was asking us questions. They were pulling us one way, they were pulling us the other way. And do you remember we had that really lovely 5 minutes at sunset where James just put our first dance song on, left his jacket, his phone in my pocket, and was wandered off. And they'll remember they'll remember how magical the moment was, but they'll remember that you gifted that to them. And that's the brand there, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's all about being purposeful. And you've thought about, how is this going to feel after I've captured it? Like, how are the couple going to remember this moment? And like you just said there, they'll remember, they'll go, that was one of my favourite parts of the day because it was just us and we were just really present. Rather than thinking how they look on camera, it was just have a moment and just forget everything else that's going on. And we're going to get some beautiful stuff anyway, but just have a moment.
Yeah.
And it's important to remember that we're there to capture the wedding and they're not there to be on film for us. Like the film is about the wedding and the wedding isn't about the film sort of approach.
You can really tell when couples appreciate that as well. I recently did a wedding and it was sunset, and we literally got the couple to turn around, face their venue, and just be arm in arm and just look at their venue. And we were just filming around them, and they were just having a chat. And on the way back to the venue, just walking down the hill, the groom was like, that for me, that moment where we were just look at everyone have fun, having fun in the background and that kind of thing. That was one of 2 core memories from this entire day for me. And that was a moment where for a couple of minutes, neither myself or the photographer were shouting anything at them. They would just they almost probably forgot we were there. We were just behind them, getting the sunset in front of them and that kind of thing. And that's what you need. And I've had multiple times this year where I've tried to do that and I've been met with a bit of a weird response from a photographer who's been like, are you done yet? Are you done? And they're like, just let them have a bit of a time. But when you do, for that groom to say that was a core memory for me, that's it kind of clicks that actually that's what they want.
But I think that should be the guiding light, shouldn't it, through all of it, is you're creating core memories for them. They're not creating core shots for your portfolio.
Yeah.
That's the balance.
Yeah. That definitely is the balance. And I think that's pretty much the topic of this whole thing, right? Is balancing that, you want epic looking shots, but in the end of the day, people are going to remember you more for you than necessarily the epic looking shots, given that that's what videographers are after, not what couples are after, right? So
are you using, I've always kind of followed the kind of logic, if you were, is that my grid is for my work, my stories are for me. My personality shows up, or this face shows up in my stories and occasionally on my grid. But for the most part, my grid is for my work.
You mentioned content pillars as well before, I think, in your notes. Is that
similar
sort of thing?
Yeah. So the content pillars is, I don't know if I made it up or if it's an actual thing, but it's just something that I've got.
Sounds great.
It's basically like your core, you call pillars, believe it or not, to your business. That if you had to put it down to 3 things or 4 things to describe your business, what would the 4 things be? So mine would be personality led, high energy, authentic films, and personable. Like, I know that's the same as personality, but whatever. So with that, I kind of fall back on creating content that surrounds those pillars. So for example, if it was authentic films, it would be that I post raw clips from the day that were hilarious. Like the time when all the bridesmaids jumped in the bath. Have you seen that video on my Instagram? All the bridesmaids jumped in the bath and one of them turned the tap on and they were like, oh my God, you turned the fucking tap on. And it got great engagement, and people will either look at that and go, that's not for me, or they'll go, oh my gosh, look at this clip, it's hilarious. And I'm fine with people looking at it and going, I don't like that, because then that's done its job, because I'm separating the people who want videographer turns up, shoots the wedding, goes home. I want people that want me to be embraced in the day. So that's authentic. For like personality, personable stuff, it's my BTS footage that, is sticky for some other suppliers because they're like, I don't like seeing BTS all the time, blah blah blah, whatever. It's not for you, so don't watch it. If you
Exactly.
honestly,
Yeah.
the amount of times that like in these wedding forums, people moaning about people doing BTS, it grinds my gears. I'm just like, if you don't like it, just don't watch it. Like, do something else.
I've not seen this. So, by BTS, when you say that people are moaning, are they moaning about like the long form YouTube, or is it like the sort of like phone Ray-Ban footage on it from a day?
I've not seen. So basically, when I put out a BTS, I posted it into like UK wedding videographers group, and it got a couple of comments that were like, "I can't wait to watch this, brilliant." And then it got a couple of people saying, "I'm not going to name names, but it got people saying, ugh, not another one of these." And I was like, "Come on, guys! Like, if you don't, it's not for you. I'm just posting it just to network a little bit."
But it goes back to that celebrity thing that you were talking about earlier, doesn't it? It's like, we probably go, oh, not another BTS, because our feeds are full of other wedding suppliers all doing BTS. But then the people that are booking us, we're the one doing that. So, and the amount of times that you go on a client call or at a wedding and go, oh my God, have you seen this thing? It's so cool. And you're like, I see it every week. Or you don't say that to them, but you think it. And you kind of give them the moment that they think that they're doing something really unique, or you see it all the time. And that, I think, just shows how much we consume. So it's that, isn't it? Where the way that they see our BTS is at far less volume to the amount that we consume.
There's a massive problem with our consumption, I think, is that if you, the next person, like, obviously, if you're scrolling for Instagram, like we follow lots of photographers, videographers, and you start to see content, and you're like, oh, I wish I made stuff like that. I wish I made stuff like that. I wish I was filming at this venue. If you, or should I be doing this so that like these people notice me and that kind of thing. The next person that books you and follows you on Instagram, like click on their profile and you can normally see which videographers have followed them back, which will normally give you an idea of who they've followed, right? And normally it's probably like, if anything, one other videographer, maybe.
Yeah.
And so they're only seeing you and one other videographer. So be better than that one person in some way, and you've got the booking, right? Yeah. But obviously with us, it's like I follow 500 videographers, so I'm going to see all of this content, and it makes me think that maybe I shouldn't use my Meta Ray-Bans because everyone's using them now, and it's just boring to me. But I need, that's me personally. But I need to get over that because it's not boring to a couple who might not have ever heard of stuff like that before.
Yeah, the amount of times that I've used them at weddings and the couple don't, they're like, "What are those things?" Yeah. Where to us, it's like everyone and his dog's got them in our industry now.
Have you both got some then?
Yeah, we've got them.
And do you use them a lot? Because I think if I had them, I'd buy them and then I'd just forget to use them. I'd be useless.
I use them for, again, this is a me problem, but I pretty much wear them all day, but I only normally use them if something amazing or different happens, like a spectacular sunset or bridesmaids doing something absolutely crazy. I would never just use them for like confetti or for candid or something like that, because I just couldn't bring myself to, like, I'm like, why do people care? I'm just filming confetti. Like, and I know that, again, it relates to, you should post all that kind of stuff because the couples don't see that all the time. But for me, I just want something a little bit different. So yeah, if something different happens, it's so much easier to be bong and just like press the on button and you're good to go, rather than, hang on, let me get my phone out to get some BTS. Yeah. But this year I've actually switched mostly to, I have a little magnet on the MagSafe thing on the top of my camera, and I just put my phone on there and it's on there all day, and if something happens then I'll just film it on my phone. So then it's like content creation, but it's also good hybrid, BTS. Basically. It just doesn't have my camera in it. Yeah, it's hybrid content creation. Here we go. But also, it's like, it feels like it's BTS because it's filmed on a phone, but it doesn't have my camera in it, so I can still use it as something that's viable for the couple to have and to show to their friends and that kind of thing. So
yeah, well, I think for me it's just a hands-off approach, because where I've started shooting film this year as well, like analog film, at some point of the day I can be carrying 4 cameras as it is. I have 2 film cameras around my neck and then 2 digitals on my thing. To then have like a 360 strapped to one of those or a GoPro or something like that, I just feel like I'm just dripping in kit. So to have something just kind of is my glasses, the fact that I can pull my camera up to my face, and because I'm the right eye, that it doesn't block the camera, I still kind of find that I get that really nice balance of the moment and my process. So again, like you were saying, kind of injecting that personality, you can hear me talking or encouraging the couple or showing them the back of the camera, going, oh, look what we got. But it still means that they can see me working whilst I'm doing it without having the camera, like it just being like BTS, if that makes sense. So that was kind of the sweet spot for the Metas for me.
I think that we all get in our heads way too much, because we obviously want to be we want to be the best, like give the best service. But we all get in our heads too much as to, oh, they're doing that, so I best not do that because it's kind of copying. But ultimately, we're all doing the same thing, appealing to the same we're all appealing to couples and we're all shooting weddings. Like, there's only so many ways to There's only so many ways to skin a chicken or something.
Skin a cat.
Yeah, sheep.
Cow.
Definitely not skin a chicken. You don't skin chicken. Do you skin chickens?
It's an animal here. Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many ways to do it. So I think that ultimately, as long as you're not doing like a carbon copy of someone else, and like bringing Greg up again, he was the first person that I saw do like the camera onto like the monitor, like, and the real life sort of thing. And then a few weeks later, a lot of people seem to be doing it, but like the text was the same, like the font was the same, and I just thought that's a bit close, really. But I don't know. That's some people just.
I'll tell you who's I love again, like that analog thing is. I don't know if you guys follow Richard Lang. Yeah. So he shoots so he's got a Pentax 6.7, and so even though he's a videographer, he shoots some stills on the film, and he has these really awesome reels. But all you can see is because obviously the Pentax is a viewfinder based, like, so backwards glass viewfinder, and it will just be like him opening the viewfinder, and then you see the shot appear, him click the shutter, and then the photo comes up afterwards. So you kind of get this real kind of literally as if he's literally just stumbled upon a moment, pop the viewfinder open, exposed, focus, boom.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool because it's almost like that viewfinder level, but in a purely like analog state. And every time that one comes up, I'll watch it like a few times.
I follow a guy who does that, but he goes to like football matches and does it. I don't know if it's the same. I don't know if it is Richard.
Yeah, we were talking about him this morning, and I showed Chris his feed then. Like, I follow him. Love his work. Yeah.
Literally just before we came on, Tom was showing me that, so that's crazy.
Little do people know he's actually using a DSLR, and he just put a filter on it at the end. Like,
but he's like what? He's at nearly 700,000 followers now. So there's clearly like literally him holding
camera.
his film stock up in front of the scene that he's at, loading his thing, and then a series of shots. Like, again, it's an easy formula.
It's just
isn't
Canon
it?
R5 with a film on it in Lightroom.
One of them little Oreo lenses, like.
Yeah.
Funny.
Obviously, like, you've got your content pillars, and you mentioned beforehand about posting with purpose, and I found that very interesting because I feel like if you look at probably most of our Instagrams, there's a lot of like everything on there. It's just like, what is the value of that? Like, what am I getting from this? Is it okay? Is this person's anniversary from 3 years ago? Like, is anyone going to book you because you posted a story saying it's this person's anniversary? I don't know.
Or particularly
obviously
this
it's
time of
something
year
to post, right?
Yeah.
And is there, like, when you talk about posting with purpose, are you thinking ahead of the things that you're going to be posting? Are you identifying things that get you engagement from people and only posting that on your stories, or what does that mean? What does that look like for you?
Well, like, first of all, I'm not like a social media expert by any way. Like, I'm not the person to stand up and do like a TED talk on algorithm and stuff like that. It's way out of my realm of understanding. I post things that I think will be relatable to the couple. It's been trial and error, until I've discovered what people want to see or what they've engaged with more than anything. But to me, posting with purpose is knowing exactly why we're sharing things. Are we trying to connect with new couples? Are we trying to show a different side to you? Are we trying to build trust, educate people? Is it just to entertain? Even if I'm posting something funny or a bit random, there's usually like a deeper purpose behind it, and it's the biggest thing is to connect. I think that's probably the main way to summarize posting with purpose. It's the connection, and ultimately social media is social. So if you're posting things like that are just super informational and it's just like text and it's a carousel that's just got here's 5 ways to save money on your wedding day, there's a purpose. There's a purpose behind it. It's to educate. But ultimately, if people aren't bothered about that, they're not going to engage with it. And social media is all about engagement, from what I've learned. So when I say posting with purpose, obviously you want to post things that couples want to see, and that they can look at it and go, oh, that actually makes sense because we've got that actually. Or daft things, burying a sausage before the night before. The amount of people that are sharing this flipping post of make sure you bury a sausage before the night before your wedding, completely irrelevant, has no real purpose, but it's relatable, and people are like, oh, you're getting married, are you going to bury a sausage? It's just ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. But Instagram loves the algorithm, doesn't it, of people sharing and then commenting, and your profile then appears more often, and it's
so you don't pre-plan or have a formula going, okay, so I've put like a more educational post out this week, so the next one should be inspirational, the next one, like, you don't have kind of like a formula of mixing those kind of pillars up.
No, when I started out, I was quite strategic with how I did it in terms of like doing a education, as in educating people about me, so informative basically more than education, and then it would be entertainment, and then I'd have quite a plan with it. But recently, it's funny because at the start of the year, since the start of the year, I think I've posted like 12 times, like not a lot really, and yet there's this sort of idea that I'm like always super active on Instagram, and I'm not anymore because I just don't have like enough time to do it. So when I do post, I'm really specific with what I post. So again, I don't want to do any previous couples discredit because I've loved all my couples, but I only post like at venues that I love. I only post couples that have had a great, like really, really relatable, my type of couple. That's, again, I'm not to say that if you haven't made it onto the grid, you've not been my type of couple, because that's not the case. It's more, I feel like I'm digging myself a hole here.
No, I think it is. I think
a lot of people are scared to say this in a public forum as well. I think you can love someone's day, but can turn around and go, that's not the direction that my business is heading in. And almost to post that then would take me off on a different path. It isn't so much my brand. And so it's, you only want to show what you want to do more of again, but it doesn't mean to say that you didn't like that. It's just a different direction, isn't it?
It's more detrimental to you if you post something that's not on your brand, because then you'll start to get all of these inquiries for weddings that you're not into because they are at this venue, or they do this thing that you don't like, or whatever it is. So
100%. And I feel like you shoot what you show as well. And I know that's probably a term that's thrown around a lot, but it's so true. And me implementing, purpose with my posts in terms of the venues, the types of couples that I'm sharing, it has paid off for me, because I'm getting the inquiries off the couples that seem to be like that, or that they like the energy that's in the films, and they like, for example, it's still like online, but my my contact form on my website, I know it's not Instagram, but it's still sort of to do with this, being purposeful. My contact form on the website, where it's like the placeholders for the names, it says like your name, Pam Beasley, your partner's name, Jim Halpert, your wedding venue, and so it's the office related. So if people see that, they go, oh, he likes The Office. And then so many times in any other details, it says, P.S., absolutely love this contact form. I instantly know we're going to get on. And I know that they're going to book me just because of that. And it's ridiculous, but I know that they'll go, he's a bit of me. Like, he loves it.
But also, again, like you say, you're putting yourself in your client's shoes. To you have this lovely inquiry form that you want everybody to fill out. But the reality is, on a Sunday night, we spoke to Adam, he talks about Wed Midnight, that you and your partner sit down to plan a wedding, go, tonight we're going to book a videographer. You probably pull up 8 videographers' websites and you fill in a very similar form on those 8 people's sites. Then you don't remember which one you've actually inquired with and who said what. But if yours stands out, because, his is the office form, you're already a head and shoulders above the other 7 they inquired with, because they remember your form. You're doing admin, but in a fun way, aren't you? Which then, if you can make the most boring bits of the job enjoyable, that my
brain is just ticking now. That, like you say, you can inject the fact that you've just said you can inject your personality into a contact form is something that I would have just never even thought about.
It's not.
No, it's just like a contact form for me is just something that's there and it's functional and it's them to reach out. But the fact that you can put your own like personality and a bit of your brand into the contact form,
that's just one example of what you can do.
Yeah,
and it's something that's like, it's almost harmless as well, because someone who doesn't watch The Office will look at it and go, it's just someone's name, like, I don't get it. But people who do know it and they comment on it, you're like, they're going to book. It's strange how you can get like marginal gains from just throwing a bit of personality in there with stuff.
But like you say, it's subtle enough as well, though, because if you turn around and really went hard on like The Office, if that's like your definitive thing, if then you had your last question was, well, what's your favourite Office episode? The people that don't know feel awkward then and don't inquire. Where, like you say, in that bit, you're giving them enough, you're giving them like a tidbit to kind of go, you're to kind of let them engage if they want to, but not. And there's no great loss if you're not isolating anybody in that moment as well.
Are you doing anything like before leading up to the wedding and that kind of thing? Like, what are you doing anything outside of emails? Do you contact people on Instagram, WhatsApp, that kind of thing, or?
So when they fill in the contact form, I request their Instagram. It's usually the bride that's filling in the contact form. So the bride, probably 70% of the time, would put their Instagram, and I give them like a little follow. but I don't reach out to them on Instagram. It's purely on email. Again, it's like business end until they sort of accept me and say, yes, we want to book you. Then it becomes like you're part of the brand now, like you're part of the team sort of thing. And then we follow each other, and then I'll reach out on Instagram. But I've got quite a unique, well, I think it's quite a unique way of like categorizing my couples. So let me get my phone up so I read this right. So everyone might do this, and I might think that it's really groundbreaking, and it's probably
I'm really
not.
interested to see.
So when you go on direct messages on Instagram, it might work. It might help if you got your phone with you, is it on the side or something.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So again, if you do this already, it's going to go down like a lead balloon. This, but anyway. Or there'll be some loophole that I'm actually ruining my Instagram by doing it. But anyway, so if you go on messages, it says primary and then general and requests. I bookmark all my couples into general.
Ah, interesting. Yeah. So how do you do? Oh, yeah, you swipe and then
swipe to the left, from right to left, and then you click the little arrow with a folder on it.
Yeah.
And then that sends them to general. And then
that's amazing. See, I find my DMs get lost so easily. Yeah. So if suppliers tag you and stuff, that will stays in primary, and then anything which you need to reply to because it's couple faces in general.
Yeah, but it also lets you.
Mind blown. That's insane.
Yeah,
what a bit of knowledge.
On Instagram Reels. Yeah. So you can literally like scroll down. I'm not going to show you for GDPR reasons, but you can scroll down and like all of your couples' stories will pop up, and then you can like interact with it.
Changed my life, man. They've changed it.
That is very cool.
Stop recording now. We've got the nugget. That's it.
It's Chumley Films special, that one.
That's it. Chop that one into the reel, Chris. That's the real sorted.
Yeah, easy one for us today.
It's not like I'm not doing it because I want to come across as that guy who's super active. I do it because I genuinely want to build a connection. And like I said at the very start, being purposeful, it's to have a connection with your couples that doesn't just end on the wedding day. Afterwards, I want to still scroll through that general bit and see that they've gone on the honeymoon or that they've just announced they're having a baby, which happens all the time, and be able to say, oh, congratulations, congrats. Because the amount of times where I'd get recommended to previous couples, like their families and friends, especially when they're younger couples, because they've like were the first one to get married in their friendship group or whatever it is. I feel like having the lasting impressions gets you more inquiries in the future as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think
I'm so glad we asked that now, because it's like one of the reasons I asked that is because I get a lot of photographers, videographers, whatever, just saying like, oh, do you find that like couples just don't respond to things like when you send them? And I like where I did have that issue perhaps once upon a time, since I've started using WhatsApp, and we've discussed this on the pod before, where I have 2 WhatsApp apps on my phone. One of them's for the business, one of them's personal, and the business one just has all of my couples in it, and I set that precedent early of please contact me on WhatsApp if you need me, because it's probably just email easier than email. And now I've got that WhatsApp communication. I beforehand they'd always ask for dietary requirements over WhatsApp, and afterwards we'll start to be like, oh, watch out for your film tomorrow on WhatsApp. But then there are some people who just don't really like gel with that, and I'll get messages from them from Instagram instead of WhatsApp, and I'm like, oh, I've got to now go onto my Instagram and like find, and like you say, as soon as you post something, that the couple then gets buried into a sea of, you've tagged this person in the post, you've tagged this person, and it like you don't see them anymore. So I've always found it really hard to keep up with couples on Instagram for that reason. So that has like basically solved that problem as well.
Yeah, that's what I find saying. I end up having to pin stuff to the top of my inbox and then almost clear my DM box like I do, or go, oh, I need to reply to that person, pin that, and then almost work through it like I do my email inbox. And then that's become a whole other task in itself now. And that's the only way that I found to do it, is to either flag stuff or pin it to the top. But that's so much easier to almost have like a tagged and suppliers inbox, and then general just being couple stuff. It's that's genuinely made saved my life.
It's quite saved my life.
But again, we talk about being like kind of, this podcast, a lot of it is kind of giving stuff to claw time back. Is that, again, you're saying for the volumes that you're doing, the time that you spend, like editing wedding films is a labor intensive process. But if you had to then spend an hour and a half doing Instagram DMs and then another hour and a half doing emails, if you could then zip that hour and a half back to 20 minutes, like that's a big difference, day to day or week to week.
And trust me when I say, if you're listening to this, and trust me when I say that the experience that your couples have and how they interact with you would definitely improve your experience as a photographer or videographer. Because if you do start doing these things, like you're saying, constantly interacting with them, when you send that film, inevitably they're much more likely to reply if you've not been a stranger for 4 months and if you've been constantly showing up.
But it's that kind of sanctum, isn't it? Again, it's that I think, again, if as trying to put my client kind of hat on, is that the people that email me are official and they're formal. The people that drop into my DMs or comment on my videos when I've just got a new dog or had a baby, they're like friends. And so then they think of you in that realm of, oh, James has just messaged to say this. And it's so much nicer then than being like, oh, I've got an email. Like, it feels less formal. So, yeah,
it's weird. It's like, do you put emojis in emails? I don't know, is that allowed? Like, I'm just like, no, probably not, because it's too formal. But I don't know.
I do now,
It's probably fine.
I don't.
I'm just
I
do. Do I? I'll just like, oh no, I'll just Instagram them.
But that's why Instagram, WhatsApp is great, right? Because you can put the amount of emojis you want. You don't need to sign it off with thanks, all the best.
And just reactions as well, just, like on WhatsApp. If you're on the move, just to flag that you've seen something and stuff. Yeah.
All that stuff has been a game changer. So with that said, is there anything that you do after the wedding to like keep in touch with them? Obviously you just mentioned that you're keeping up to date with their posts and things like that, but like between the wedding and delivery, are you doing anything then to keep that relationship going?
Nothing like groundbreaking, I suppose. They get a teaser from me 7 days after, so that kind of bridges the gap between wedding day and like delivery of films. But no, I'd just say occasionally, if I've got a spare 20 minutes or whatever, I will just go on that general and just see what they're up to. And if they're doing something again that I can say, oh, and relate to it, then it doesn't buy you time, but they kind of go, oh, he's still about, he's still doing stuff, he's not a complete stranger.
Yeah, they think that you haven't ghosted them. I think that's a lot of it, isn't it? If you they come for this amazing day, you hug them on the dance floor at the end of the night and don't hear from you for 16 weeks, you begin to wonder and go, where's my film come in? Has he just done a runner? Like, is it like what's going on with it? And I know that you talked about in that more kind of official capacity having the tracker on your website to kind of people know that you are still actively kind of working on their film when it's updating. But even just to kind of get like an odd little message or a little kind of heart on something, a story, it shows that you're still thinking about them and you're kind of they're still in your memory. So.
Also, more recently, I've been sending them like over WhatsApp, like a little video or a picture of me editing their film, or like I said about before, having the phone on top of the camera. Sometimes I record something, I'll just send them a clip from that, and it gets them excited and sort of reminds you that you're there and you're working on it, and drip feeds that, like a little bit of a build up. So
I think when my wife started working with me, I was really like adamant on making the after wedding workflow a little bit different to how it actually is now. So I wanted to, 4 weeks after the wedding, send an email to say, hope you had an amazing honeymoon, if that's what they did, try and be more personal with it. But say your film will be ready week beginning, whatever it is. I haven't got around to doing this yet, but I feel like it's not a hard thing to do, I suppose, that we should all probably try and implement. Like touching base to give them an idea, because if like you've been doing, Tom, like put your client head on, like all the time, put your client head on. What would you expect from your couple? When I got married, my photographer emailed me probably like 3 weeks before my photographs were ready, and it said your pictures will be ready on week beginning the 17th of February or whatever it was. That instantly like manages expectations. And I think if you just let it go and just like ghost them, like you said, you go, well, why has it taken 16 weeks to get this back? It better be good. And then the expectations of this film are like through the roof. And then when they watch it, they're thinking, this took 16 weeks to get back to me. And that's a negative experience, rather than saying, just to let you know, guys, it's going to be in 4 weeks. And then even if it is, on week 16, they know it's in 4 weeks. Are we excited? It's 4 weeks away. It's just.
Well, I think it's those things as well, isn't it? And that combined with the social stuff, if people can see how busy you are in your stories, I feel like most of the emails or DMs that I get this time of year from our couples are, I know you're super busy, and the fact that you even reply to them, they seem really grateful because you do such a good job of showing just how flat out you are that they feel like an inconvenience messaging you. And if you give them some of your time to go, no, it's all good, you are important to me, you are one of my couples that allows me to do this, here's your answer plus whatever, they feel so much more valued. And it's almost like they're not inconvenienced at all. They're the ones that have made you this way. But I think so sometimes that lack of communication or lack of anything makes people wonder all the more, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I also guarantee that because you've appealed to those types of couples, you've done your job in terms of your brand to be able to appeal to the couples that message you saying, I know you're really busy, but you've done the legwork to get those couples in the first place. So it's like testament to you,
Yeah.
rather than having the couples that are just wanting a videographer and they expect it the day after.
Yeah.
You're
They
actually
don't follow you on Instagram. They don't care if you're busy or not. It's just like, where's my film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fair enough. I had this in the week, so I posted my editing queue at the start of the week. Then I had a bridesmaid from the wedding that I shot last week who also saw my story about the other couple buying me Haribo and was like, so my friend's wedding's far too far down your editing queue. She's like, how much Haribo would it take for you to bump this wedding up? And I was like, you haven't got a lorry big enough. And she was like, just give me a number. And then about an hour later, I get a DM from my actual bride saying, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Rachel's just told me what she's trying to plan with you. She's like, let me know that I have not endorsed this. She's like, you take your sweet time and get my wedding to me. We know how busy you are. And I was like playing one off and DMs against the other on like literally I was trying to negotiate a van load of Tank Classics to get to my house.
There's a tub up there as well, so it must have started.
Embarrassing, that's a 1 kilo tub, but there's not a lot left and I only got it on Saturday.
I'm like that a little bit, but amongst other suppliers. So in the Northwest, I do this event called the Wedding Supplier Social. I don't know if you've seen it or anything like that.
Yeah, I've seen about that, yeah. I was looking at it and I was like, I'm going to go to this, and I realised how far it was away.
Yeah, in Preston, or maybe not. It's only like a 4-hour drive or something. You can do that. But yeah, so I've got like a WhatsApp group with, I think there's like 60 different wedding suppliers in it. So like trying to really build a community. And there's this like stigma that I'm just an alcoholic by the looks of it, and I just always drink Guinness, and that I'm just like brushing my teeth with Guinness, showering in Guinness. But I don't know why, but I was helping my friend move house, who's a photographer, Anthony Ives, and he brought me a crate of Guinness. I was like, cheers, but my fridge is literally full with Guinness from couples, because they just think that I'm just like a Guinness alcoholic. But anyway, not moaning, but guys, I've literally got so much Guinness.
Yeah, it's the best problem to have, isn't it? It really is. Like, and I think it's like things like that at the time, which does mean I've now got to drink 50 cans of Guinness. But it shows that people do actually listen to the things that you say, or they do read the things that you put in your About Me or the stuff that you put out. And so
I saw Charlie Bluck got a bag with a little white monster in it the other day, because he always posts about his monster. And but I don't really do that on my Instagram because there's enough of that on this pod.
But it's that thing, isn't it? I think, but in some ways, it's kind of a social experiment. I think that does show that, you know, again, that if we give that much of ourselves to our couples, they then do take notice and give it back.
Yeah.
So I think it is a really interesting thing, and I think that's kind of the wrap up. You know, as we kind of go into the kind of closing questions of the whole episode, is that it's never too early in your business to feel comfortable being you and showing that stuff is there, and you can be kind of learning the technical stuff alongside, you know, delivering a great brand.
Yeah, I would say that's like if I was to start again, I would tell myself, just be authentic. Don't try and be this super polished final product. Just be yourself. And I know that some people's yourself is a lot harder to portray than it is for me. But I would just say, take the perspective of the videographer and become the groom, or try and put your head into what the bride's perspective is, and post and be the person that you would want to have at your own wedding. Like there's a saying that I always say to my wife, and again, it's quite deep this, and it's because my daughter's on my mind, but it's like, be the man you'd want your daughter to marry. That's like the sort of thing that I go by, like in day to day, be the man you'd want your daughter to marry. So I'm like,
you need that on the wall. Take the neon down. Get a neon of that instead.
Get rid of that. Yeah. But it's the same sort of thing, but with the wedding video. Like, be the wedding videographer that you would want at your own wedding, and then you will appeal, and you'll get bookings that you love because they're so much like you. And I feel like that's just like that's my ethos. Just be the man you want your daughter to marry. A bit sad, isn't it? Really.
I think that's a perfect. I genuinely think that is the perfect summary of why you've got how far you are, and also why we've got you on the pod, and that like you've literally just summarized everything that we've been speaking about in one sentence, and I think that's a really nice ending to it. And I mean, we were going to ask you a question to say in summary, like what advice would you give? But I think that is absolutely perfect, and we don't even need to go through that. So yeah, no, I think that's a lovely little.
I think we have to deliver the final burning question though.
There's a couple of questions, that we normally do at the end of the pod. One of them is a fairly new one, and that we asked Adam before, and that is, what would you, if you could say to photographers right now, what could they do to make your life easier when you're working as a team? What would it be? And this is obviously like, to rephrase it then, to make it more positive, what is there anything that photographers have done in the past that has been like, oh yeah, I want to work with you more often?
I would say those who encourage movement and encourage like real life scenarios, so like dancing, not just. So, for example, there's a photographer I work with, and she does the same thing every time, and it's like when they spin, like the little pirouette spin, and she's like, you don't even need to move really, you just need to stay there and just hold your dress out. I'm like, that's great for you, but that looks ridiculous for me. Like, there's no way that would make it into the film. It's like the that trend of how to get the perfect walking candid shot. Do you know when they do like the little
the galloping?
The galloping.
The amount of people that have told me about this, and I was like,
it doesn't even look good.
But all you will remember when you look at those photos is how much of a dick that you felt doing it. Like, you might look great, but for me, like, again, photo and film evoke memory, and you remember the experience, you don't remember the result.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, it's exactly that. Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, yeah, it's like the walk. Some people even do it with walking. Like, just put one foot in front of the other. Now turn around and then just pretend you're walking, but don't actually move. And it's like, okay, this looks so bad now. And then because of that, you kind of have to do now it's my turn, and we're actually going to do some walking now. And like, if you have to say it's my turn, then that's when it gets like interferes with the couple a little bit, doesn't
the
it?
whole idea of turns gives me the ick anyway.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
But I realise that
sometimes you have to.
I am in a minority, so that's
But you wouldn't, like, for people working with you wouldn't have to do it, because you do your bit and then you go to the videographer, like, you just crack on, and if there's anything you need, let me know. But sometimes, because of styles and people having different styles, and some of those styles are definitely more look at the camera and smile, or some of them are a bit more, like you say, a bit more like, we're going to put you in this position where you're like looking like you're twirling, but you're actually not, because I want to get the perfect photo. And then you kind of, obviously we wouldn't say it in front of the couple, but you have to take your turn, because then the video needs to work somehow.
Actually spin.
So, okay, now we're going to do an actual spin. Yeah. No, that works. It works. And final question then, which we actually ask all guests, and that is, what is your go-to meal deal?
Meal deal? Oh, gosh, a bit of a rogue answer, I think here. I'm not sure what other people have said. I'm a Southern Fried Chicken wrap guy. Is that rogue or is that normal? Is that fried chicken wrap? I like the wraps. I feel like
we haven't had that yet, but it is.
I think you're the first wrap that we've had. Yeah, that's it.
Down with the kids, that's why. I feel like the sandwiches just aren't a vibe at all. I feel like they're always dead dry and just, I don't know. They're probably just as new as the wraps, but I like the wraps.
I feel personally offended by the attack on meal deal sandwiches right now.
Especially when we're about to go and get the chicken ham and cheese triple. You know it's happening. Yeah.
Sometimes
I'll be sat there thinking about how dry it is.
No, if I was to go for a sandwich, it'd be like chicken and sweet corn, mayo, whatever it is. I just feel like once you've opened it, you've got about 2 minutes before it like crusts up. Whereas I think you got a bit more time with that.
No, definitely the sandwiches. Yeah, as soon as you open one, sometimes I'm like, I'll leave that one for when I get to my destination, and then I'll pick it out, and it's like rock solid. I'm like knocking on it.
The snack, I like the
snack.
I like the like caramel shortbreads, the little shortbread bites or whatever, or like like a chocolate fudge or some whatever it is. Flapjack, that's a good one because it don't melt in your car as bad as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I'm like orange Lucozade. Bit of a
orange Lucozade.
Yes, man off my heart. Yeah, orange Lucozade, man.
Tom and Rue Films Club. Orange
Lucozade. Fizzy one, the energy one, or the sport. Yeah. And obviously, stupid question.
Depends when you drop it. The fizzy one's fine in the morning. If you're about to go into speeches and you're going to burp through someone's speech, it's got to be the flat one. Yeah.
Lucozade Sport on a wedding day is next level. Yeah.
James, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we've discussed a lot. I think it's been a really helpful episode for a lot of people, and there's been a couple of little bits that even me and Tom have been like, whoa, like you've literally saved.
Oh yeah, I'm going away. That's it. Like, been off the meal deal. I'm going to go and start adding all my clients to my generals inbox now. That's it. Yeah.
Hopefully
that's not getting recorded.
Hopefully it works. It's not one of them that in like 6 months. Oh yeah, by the way, that category deletes itself. Like it's not one of them. Hopefully, imagine. But hopefully you can take that and apply it.
No, it's been great to have you on. You're absolutely smashing it. And love your work. And just keep it up.
Keep doing what you're doing, mate. That's it.
Keep doing what you're doing. And
I guess the last thing as well is we need you to tell everybody where they can find you. What are your links? Where can we go? What's the website? What's the Instagram?
Yeah, so website's chumleyfilms.co.uk.
Little sign on the shoulder.
I think chumleyfilms.com.co.uk, whatever. Just put in Chumley Films on Google. Instagram at Chumley Films. And YouTube as well, Chumley Films, where I'm putting more BTS content. I'm shooting a couple at the end of summer, so there'll be a lot more going on there. But thanks for having me, guys. I really do appreciate it.
We'll tag it all in the description. So
yeah, we'll put it in the description. So that you can find it if you want to. But yeah, thanks for coming on. To the listeners and watchers, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good stuff. What an episode. Good. Lovely.